For anyone who grew up in the 80s and 90s, Tri-Klops is unforgettable. That green helmet, that spinning visor with 3 eyes that could see everything. But here's what the cartoon never told you. That visor wasn't a weapon. It was a prison. And the man behind it wasn't born a villain. He was manufactured as one. But hidden in the pages of Masters of the Universe, Icons of Evil, published by Image Comics and written by Robert Kirkman, there was a man who never chose to be a villain. It all starts with a man running for his life, an inventor. He's piloting a futuristic vehicle at full speed through a canyon. Desperate, hunted by tribal warriors, they catch up, take down the vehicle, yank him out of the seat, and they spit out the accusation that justifies his execution. He's a traitor, a man who builds weapons for their enemies. The blades go up. He begs. No mercy comes. And it's exactly at that moment that a stranger shows up. A warrior, broad-shouldered, scarred hands, green headband. He sees an unarmed man about to be killed and steps between them without hesitation. What follows is brutal. The swordsman doesn't waver. One by one, the attackers go down. He doesn't know if the man he's saving is innocent or guilty. He just knows that 3 against 1 isn't justice. But in the middle of the fight, one of the attackers, still standing, raises his hand, and a purple energy explodes in the air. Dense, alive, unnatural. It hits the swordsman directly in the eyes. When the dust settles, the enemies are dead. The inventor is alive, and the man who saved him is blind. The inventor looks at the warrior's face and recognizes the spell, says it's dangerous, that it needs to be contained fast before it spreads, and offers the only solution he knows. Come with me to my tower. I can help you, and you can help me. The swordsman agrees, and right there begins the first mistake of his life, because the man he just saved was no ordinary man. The inventor wasn't just some fugitive in the desert. He was a genius, a builder, and over time, he had raised something impossible in the wastelands of Eternia. A tower. Massive. Covered in technology no one in that world had ever seen. Flying drones patrolling the skies. Autonomous weapons guarding the base. An empire of machines and knowledge. And inside it, the blind swordsman served. Loyal. Grateful. A slave who believed he was paying off a debt. On the surface, a man fulfilling his duty. On the inside, a prisoner who didn't know what his cell looked like. He had no idea he was being watched. Across the wastelands, in a city cloaked in shadows, a man stared at the tower with obsession. Blue skin, long hair, ambition burning in his eyes. Keldor, remember that name, because you already know him by another one. The name he would take years later, when his own flesh rotted away and his skull became his face. Skeletor. But back then, Keldor was still human, and all he wanted was that tower. At his side stood a scientist, a technician, a loyal servant with a mechanical visor fitted into his eye. And that scientist was doing everything he could to talk Keldor out of the attack. Why risk everything you've built for technology we already have? I could study that place from a distance, give you replicas of the drones, maybe more. Keldor didn't even look at him. Your command over technology is laughable at best. With the resources of that tower, I'll become unstoppable. It's an opportunity I can't pass up. Everything at my disposal will be used for this. All my forces come with me. Thousands of warriors marched. Giant creatures used as mounts. Machines. Beastman at Keldor's side. An entire army pointed like a spear at the heart of the tower, and the tower hit back. What came out through the gates were machines the size of buildings. They crushed the creatures, vaporized soldiers. Keldor and his allies kept fighting, relentless, until they broke through. They reached the top. And there, waiting calmly, was the real owner of the tower, a man who greeted them without fear. Welcome. I assume you've come to claim my weapons. You're not the first. The duel began. Tri-Klops fought like a master, sword against sword, steel against magic. For the first time in years, the blind swordsman found someone who matched him. The battle stretched on until the floor gave out. Both of them fell. Pipes, darkness, water. When they found each other again down below, surrounded by the skulls of other invaders who had tried and failed, Keldor attacked without mercy, relentless, and landed a blow that knocked off his opponent's helmet. And then Keldor did something the swordsman never saw coming. He stopped, looked at the blind warrior's face, and recognized the spell still burning in his eyes, and spoke the words that destroyed everything. "The magic in you is temporary. It would have faded in days if it hadn't been contained." The swordsman froze. Keldor kept going. That spell never needed a magic tower to be cured. That spell would have passed on its own. But someone had locked it inside that man's eyes. Someone had kept him blind on purpose. For years, so he would depend, so he would serve, so he would never question. The man the swordsman saved in the desert never cured him. He imprisoned him. And that brings us back to the question that changes everything. If the magic would have faded on its own in days, why did the inventor spend years keeping it locked inside him? And Keldor proved it. With a gesture, he pushed part of the spell back. And for the first time in years, the swordsman saw light. Blurry, damaged, but light. Then came the offer. Betray the inventor. Join me, and I'll rebuild your sight for real. With technology, with magic. Better than it ever was. Truth he just heard, or the lie he had lived for years. And the swordsman chose. He took out the tower's owner, because loyalty to a lifetime of lies is always stronger than a truth that arrives too late. Keldor looted the tower, took everything, technology, weapons, knowledge, and months later, in a dark room inside Keldor's fortress, Keldor's own scientist, the same man with the mechanical visor who had tried to warn him against the attack, fitted the blind swordsman with something new. Using the technology stolen from the tower, he built something that had never existed before. A green helmet, a visor, infrared vision, gamma vision, optical energy blasts, nearly indestructible armor. Tell Keldor I'm very pleased. Tri-Klops had been born, but his tragedy still wasn't over, because in the shadows of that fortress, Keldor smiled and whispered to Beastman the final truth. The tower's owner had been building that visor all along, a device to contain the magic and restore the swordsman's sight. Long before the war, long before the betrayal, the person most responsible for Tri-Klops' newfound vision was the very man he had just killed. Keldor had only added a few small magical touches to the visor, just enough to keep him loyal, just enough to keep him serving, without question. Now he serves me, without question. That spinning visor, with 3 eyes that could see everything. It was never built to show him the world. It was built to make sure he would never need to look for the truth. Why does a man who can see in every direction never see the one person pulling the strings? Because some prisons don't have walls. They have gratitude and debt and the shape of someone who once saved your life. Tri-Klops could see in every direction except the one that mattered. Do you think he would have made a different choice if he had known the truth from the start? If this video made you see a character you thought you already knew in a whole new light, share it with someone who grew up watching He-Man. And if you want to know the dark origin of another classic villain that TV kept hidden from you, subscribe to the channel, because the next video is about a character who seemed harmless but had a deeply disturbing past. See you then.